Part 9. Jiyu was shooting himself in the foot because of Prince Duan's request. In the following days, Ming Yu would rectify his mundane affairs, build a training base, and inspect the situation of his territory. Fortunately, the official who knew the situation of the territory sent by Lu Zifu according to Ming Yu's request finally came. His name is Xu Wen. He is a young man with a broad mind. He has been a small official here for many years. He knows the following things well. Xu Wen has been here for many years, and the biggest official he has ever met is the prefect. He was nervous for several days when he heard that he was going to be sent to Prince Duan's mansion. This is the prince, a very noble person of the royal family and nobles. He can do things for the prince, but it is a good thing that others can't help being envy. Although he has also heard some bad deeds of this Prince Duan, as long as he can be smart and work hard, maybe he will be appreciated by the prince. Will you still worry about your career by then? Xu Wen was excited and nervous to report to Prince Duan's mansion, still secretly guessing what errand the Lord would send him. When someone sent a message and asked him to follow the Lord's car to go out, he was stunned for a moment. He came to the palace to lead an errand. Why did he go out with the prince? He grabbed the person who came to spread the word, and asked with a cheeky smile. As the saying goes, don't slap the smiling face. And that person also knew that this Master Xu was specially invited by the prince to come to the palace, and it was not easy to slap his face at people, so he said in a muffled voice, "This is what the prince ordered, and I don't know about it, Master Xu. If your lord really wants to know, just ask the lord." Xu Wen dared to ask the lord, and withdrew his hand embarrassingly. The man looked at him like this and thought that he would be doing things for the lord in the future, so he would sell him a good one, and mention it again, nodding, "Master Xu, don't worry. Our prince is also easy to talk, you just follow the prince's instructions and act." Xu Wen nodded again and again, thanked the person for his advice, and could only wait by the side. The prince's chariot accompanied him. As soon as Jiyu returned to the Red Robe Army, he went to the Central Army tent to find General Xie to report back to the mission. Before arriving at the tent, he nervously sorted out his appearance while waiting. He had been with General Xie for several years. As General Xia's personal guard, he would get nervous every time he saw General Xie. Well, having said that, no one in the army would not be nervous when they saw General Xie. Just looking at a face that was cold at the end of that year makes my heart feel cold. After a while, the messenger let him in. Jiyu relaxed, and after thanking him, he strode into the tent. Xie Yisho was sitting behind the desk, writing a quick book in one hand, and was handling official business. Jiyu bowed his hands and saluted, "General, fortunately not to be disgraced at the end, and returning from a successful mission." After speaking, he also reported the escort process. "Well, I see." Xie Yisho paused the pen in his hand. Without raising his eyes, he just said something in a cold voice. It stands to reason that Jiyu should leave after reporting his own affairs. But he didn't move his footsteps, rubbing his hands uneasily. Xie Yisho wrote a paragraph and found that the man was still there. Only then did he raise his eyes to look at him, and said coldly, "But what else is there?" Jiyu nodded awkwardly. "The subordinate has something to report to the general." He quietly glanced at the general, and courageously said, "It's about Prince Duan." Xie Yisho frowned. What's the matter with Prince Duan? He was impatient to hear such trivial matters. However, seeing Jiyu's helpless appearance, he swallowed the words of refusal, and changed his mouth to say, "Go ahead." Jiyu was overjoyed, and hurriedly repeated Ming Yu's request when he was parting. After Xie Yisho finished listening, he put down the pen in his hand. You mean, Prince Duan asked to dispatch 2 red-robed soldiers to assist them in training the Imperial Guards from the capital? Yes. Jiyu nodded and said, I was on the road before, and I occasionally heard him mention that he was going to build a training base. And the training title seems to be very different. What Ming Yu said at the beginning, many of those things he hadn't even heard of. When he first heard it, he sneered. A prince who knows how to eat, drink, and have fun knows how to train an army, but he is just drawing a gourd. A lot of things that Ming Yu brought up, he found it funny when he first heard it. What station queue? What 5-kilometer cross-country run? Such a simple thing can be used for training. Shouldn't the real army training be training swords, spears, swords and halberds, slashing and stabbing? Is it possible to kill an enemy just by standing there or running and jumping? It's too playful. Ha ha. Ridiculous. Sure enough, it's just a way for playboys to have fun and have fun. However, when he calmed down and thought about it, he felt that it was not that simple. But he couldn't say why. This is also one of the reasons why he agreed to help Ming Yu ask. If their general agreed to send someone over, then they could figure out what was strange in his heart. He said everything that he had heard, and finally said his own thoughts again, and then looked at his general. Xie Yishou didn't take it seriously at first after hearing it. But with his intuition over the years, he only needed a little thought to discover the difference in this training. Long-distance running every day can exercise people's endurance and physical strength, and standing in a queue can also train soldiers' obedience very well. The training of soldiers in the army is all about training the soldiers to be familiar with the orders of the commander and the skilled weapon drill. It has to be said that Ming Yu's training is more comprehensive and more suitable for personal combat ability. Is this what Prince Duan said? Xie Yishou's cold face showed a hint of surprise that was hardly noticeable. Jiyu didn't notice it. He nodded repeatedly and said, it was Prince Duan who said it himself. Seeing that Xie Yishou seemed to be thinking, he said, the subordinate escorted His Royal Highness Duan all the way, and after getting along these days. I found it too. Prince Duan is not as rumored. Many people knew about the rumors about Prince Duan, and he found that His Royal Highness Prince Duan and the rumored person were just 2 people. He observed it secretly for a long time. If it was a disguise, it was impossible not to reveal any clues. Sometimes the side that was revealed inadvertently was the real nature. He believed in his own vision, and what he saw was the real Prince Duan without any pretense. In Xie Yishou's mind, the boy who had a relationship at that time suddenly appeared. A person with such insight is indeed not like a domineering foolish scumbag. At that time, if I saw him myself, maybe I would be surprised, but I don't know. But this thought only flashed in his mind. Xie Yishou was not a person who would regret it. When Prince Duan came to meet, he was really busy with his affairs, and secondly, he didn't want to get involved too much. If you miss it, you miss it. And it doesn't matter. Xie Yishou thought about it for a long time, and finally decided, okay, if that's the case, then you and Cao Jian will go there. Nothing bothers the second master. Jiyu has stayed with Prince Duan for so long, and everything is familiar, it is best for him to take and train these escorts. Hearing this, Jiyu had a bitter face. He finally came back and wanted to follow the general to kill the enemy. Now let him go back and help Prince Duan get some training. How can he be willing? General, look at me coming back after a long time. Can I give this task to someone else? Anyway, it's the same for anyone who goes there. It doesn't have to be me? Jiyu said pitifully. Xie Yishou looked at Jiyu with a cold gaze, so Jiyu immediately froze, looking at Xie Yishou with a grievance. That is to say, his personal guard, if it was someone else. How would he dare to talk to him about conditions? Since it's the same for anyone who goes, is there any difference? After you go, report the training process and results as they are, Xie Yishou ordered. His purpose is also to see if the training method proposed by Prince Duan can really surprise him. Since General Xie said so, Ji Yu knew that the matter had already been decided, and there was no room for change. He was shooting himself in the foot. If he had known this would happen, he would never have promised His Royal Highness Prince Duan to come back and talk about this matter. If you can't change it, then you can only try to fight for your own interests. Ji Yu is well aware of this, and reluctantly agrees, and then makes a hesitant expression. Xie Yishou frowned. If you have something to say, say it. Ji Yu hurriedly said with a smile, General, the commander promises to complete the mission, but after this task, can the general let the commander do the job in the next battle against the barbarians? A pioneer? The conditions that can be said must be mentioned. He has already made such compromises, and such a small request can still be mentioned. How great to be a pioneer! As long as you can kill a few more barbarians, what is this little grievance? Xie Yishou was also helpless to meet this shameless Ji Yu. If he didn't agree, he was afraid that he would be entangled until he agreed. This request was harmless, so he simply agreed. Ji Yu left happily, and if he could get the next battle vanguard in exchange, if he said it out, he might arouse the envy, jealousy and hatred of his fellow red robes. Ha ha ha.